Slaughter, and today I'm going to show you how to make 3 easy recipes for great starters for your holiday entertaining. Many of you, whether you're chronically ill or not, seek a healthier, anti-inflammatory diet. All of these foods that you're going to see here today are vegan, gluten-free, and they can be adapted to be soy-free as well. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to be making 3 different appetizers today. The first one, I'm going to go ahead and start preparing the butternut squash. We're going to have winter vegetable stacks with butternut squash puree. Butternut squash needs to go ahead and be prepped and put in the oven, so I'm going to go ahead and start with that. I've chosen small butternut squashes. They yield a little bit less, but they're easier to handle and prepare. So instead of going with the big one that you won't be able to cut through, I recommend starting with a small one. You're going to go ahead and cut it down the middle. And you can just use a spoon to take out the seeds. And after it cooks, I have an oven heated to 350 degrees. After they cook, they're very soft. So in order to avoid getting stem in our food that we don't want, I'm going to go ahead and chop these off. Just both ends, just enough to get the stem off. Then you're going to place your butternut squash on an ungreased cookie sheet face down. You're going to bake at 350 degrees for about 30 minutes. While our butternut squash is in the oven cooking for our winter veggie stacks, I'm going to go ahead and start making our Far East roll-ups. I'm going to start by making the sauce. I have here in a bowl just some tamari, which is gluten-free soy sauce. If you want to keep this soy-free, you can use Rack's liquid aminos. They're liquid amino acids, and they're a good soy sauce replacement. But here I've started with some gluten-free soy sauce. Also, the tamari can be a little bit expensive. So if you want a gluten-free soy sauce without the added expense, La Choy soy sauce is gluten-free all on its own. So it's a good little hack. I'm going to add some ginger. Ginger is often scary to people because they don't know how to process it, but it's just as easy as taking a spoon and you just scrape it to get the skin off. It comes off so easily. Go ahead and take my knife, and after I've skinned it, just go ahead and chop up about, it's to taste. So use maybe about an inch or 2. Chop that up. Now you can mince your ginger, but I have a cool little tool here. It's a garlic twist. You just put your ginger in there. Start to twist it. Once you've added your ginger, just mix it all up. And add your sriracha. Again, it's to taste, but you want it to be a little bit of a thickener, and you want it to add some spice. And this is just going to set aside. We're going to let that sit. Okay, now I'm going to process the cucumber. Just go ahead and cut your ends off in a bowl, and then half. These are going to have cucumber, avocado, and asparagus, along with some other things in your sauce. Just go ahead and cut the avocado all the way around, twist it to open. Paring knife, just cut slices down. I'll show you how to get it out later. Don't press too hard. And then I've already steamed this asparagus and refrigerated it, so it's cooked and cooled and ready to go into our wraps. But you can just steam your asparagus, any consistency you like. But I would say steam it for about 10 minutes should do it. Now for our wraps, I use these collards here. And how we're going to do these is we're just going to take the stem off. So you just follow your knife around the stem. off. So you end up 2 halves there. And you can use collards, you can use Swiss chard, you can use kale, you can use rice paper wraps, but I like the collards because it gives it a nice fresh crunch. Okay, pause. And you just want to chop up your cashews. I used raw cashews, but you can use traditional. Ready to assemble. Go ahead and grab your collar. Go ahead and just do 2 at a time. Just go ahead and start stuffing them. Now that I've chopped my green onions, you can put some green onions on there as well. Sauce that's been marinating, just give it a nice stir and spoon it over. I don't put that much on there. Some people might not like it very spicy, and it's a little spicy with that ginger and the sriracha in there. So. Top of toasted sesame seeds and roll. While our butternut squash is still in the oven, we're going to go ahead and peel our parsnips for the winter vegetable stacks. Parsnips take a little bit longer to cook, so we're going to go ahead and add those. You can just add those to the 350-degree oven that your squash is in. Okay, for our next appetizer, we're going to work on our beet canapes. And for this, I'm going to use a mandolin, which is this tool here. And I urge you to invest in a protective glove. They're very dangerous. I lost a chunk of my hand to it recently, actually. I'm going to set it on the widest setting. Just going to start slicing. Slice your beets, just go ahead and put them on your serving platter. Just go ahead and prepare them on the serving platter. And these are canapes, which means they're supposed to be eaten in one bite. So keep it to your smaller pieces. Now we're going to make the sauce, and for that, I'm going to use equal amounts of plain yogurt, and I use So Delicious. It's coconut-based yogurt, and I think it's the best dairy-free yogurt in my opinion. And equal parts yogurt and tahini. Tahini is pureed sesame seeds. And separately, they're pretty liquid-like. You'll see that when you mix them together, it kind of mousse up. I'm going to add fresh chopped basil and a copious amount of brown pepper. Just going to add some thyme. And for the thyme, I just use dried because it's a little bit difficult to prepare, I think. So the dried is fine. I'm going to top our beets with a little bit of sprouts. And top a little bit of sauce on each one. Hot sauce. And we're going to go back to our mandolin. We're going to shred some carrot. Go ahead and put your safety belt back on. And don't want to lose a hand like I did. And just kind of julienne them on a little bit of an angle so they're kind of long. And this is just curly parsley, just regular parsley. Not only is it pretty, but parsley is detoxifying. It's highly underrated. And top black pepper. Now that our squash is out of the oven, I'm going to go ahead and prep the portobello cap. Go ahead and just pop the stem off. And then I use a spoon to get rid of this gill here. And I'm going to chop these into squares. These are for our veggie stacks. So you want to cut them about 3/4 of an inch wide. And then I trim off I leave the ends trimmed off. We won't use that portion. Just use the center of the cap here. Just go ahead and cut it again in 3/4 of an inch cubes. Put the mushrooms on a drying rack, and we're going to put them in the oven for about 10 minutes. Put them on a drying rack because mushrooms have a lot of water, and I want to let that water drain. Put those in for about 10 to 12 minutes. These are cool to the touch. Go ahead and scoop butternut squash filling right into your blender. I use Earth Balance butter replacement, so they come in little mini sticks. So I'm actually going to add an entire mini stick, a half a stick of butter, or about a half a cup, a 1/4 cup. Add a little bit of salt, not too much, but salt actually brings out sweetness in foods. So add a little bit of salt. bit of maple syrup. Cover. Now that the puree is done, go ahead and take the lid off of this. And you can use a pastry bag, but for these purposes, I'm just going to pour it into a Ziploc bag. Take our scissors and just cut a little hole in the end. This isn't for anything fancy. This is just to get it. We're going to serve them in these shot glasses here. So it's how we can get it in without making a huge mess. Fill them about halfway full. Alright, I've already skewered my mushroom and my parsnip on our skewers here. And then I just baked the onion at 350, just like this. I'm going to quarter it. And then take the inner pieces just because they're smaller, add it to your skewer. And you just place so here's your finished product. You have your beet canapes, Far East roll-ups, and winter vegetable stacks and butternut squash puree.